Part 12. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wu Nian. Chapter 111. Chen Mu spent some time and continued to feed the lion using the previous method. Through gluttony evolution, the lion combined with the vulture's genes to mutate. This time it took Chen Mu a full week to change more than 200 experimental subjects. Finally, a brand new creature appeared in front of Chen Mu. Looking at the creature in front of him, Chen Mu, who had twice the size of a lion, walked around it and looked at it. Weird. Chen Mu looked at the creature in front of him. This creature has a lion's body and tail on its back, and a pair of huge wings on its back, but its head is not the head of a vulture at all. African vultures are not actually vultures. They should be called vultures, but people habitually call them vultures. They become vultures. The special thing about this kind of vulture is that their necks and heads are bare, which makes them look very ugly. Previously, Chen Mu evolved through gluttony through lions devouring vultures, and many of the things he obtained were ugly-looking vultures and lions with bare necks. But this one in front of me is completely different. Its back half has the body and tail of a lion, but its front half looks completely different. It has the head of an eagle with white feathers on its head. On its neck, you can see white feathers mixed with the mane of a lion, making it look full of momentum. The claws on a pair of forelimbs look like a fusion of eagle claws and lion claws. But through the combination of the thick white feathers on its neck and the lion's mane, it is impossible to tell that this thing is a vulture, looking like a fusion of an eagle and a lion. Chen Mu was a little confused, but after Chen Mu thought for a moment, he understood. The system has said that the evolution of gluttony occurs through genetic mutations. Vultures are a type of eagle family, and naturally have eagle genes in their bodies. It seems that there is a genetic mutation, causing the appearance to change. Chen Mu said, although it doesn't look as domineering as a lion, it looks much better than the bare neck of a vulture. And this thing is very huge, a full circle bigger than an adult male lion. It looks very majestic. I just don't know how long this thing can live, Chen Mu muttered. Although this thing is different from Chen Mu's imagination, in this week's experiment, it seems that the appearance and body shape are acceptable. Chen Mu planned to see if there was anything wrong with its body. For this reason, Chen Mu used his control ability to observe it. The creature flapped its wings and flew into the sky, flying freely under Chen Mu's gaze. Time flies. 2 days passed. This evening, Chen Mu controlled the fusion of lion and vulture and watched it land on him. It's been 2 days and I haven't had any physical problems, Chen Mu muttered. It's really strange. After a week of experiments, Chen Mu finally discovered a problem. Any new creature evolved from gluttony, as long as the front half of its body is that of a vulture, there is a high probability that they will not have any problems flying. And if only the front half of the body is a lion's body, then there will definitely be problems with flying. Basically, you will die within 2 hours of flying. And this is actually not surprising. Birds have paid a huge price to be able to fly. First of all, if they insist on flying, then the chest muscles need to be very developed. If you want to support the weight of the male lion and allow the male lion to fly, then the chest muscles need to be even more developed. As for the lion's own body, not to mention that the lungs and heart in the body are not up to standard, the development of the chest muscles alone is not enough to support the power required for flight. After all, a lion's body structure is designed to run and hunt on the ground, not to fly. Because of this, when the front half is the body of a bird, there are fewer problems. If the front half is the body of a lion, it is basically difficult to meet the conditions required for flight. Chen Mu was thinking, but now he no longer thought about it. He looked at the creature in front of him that was a fusion of a vulture and a lion, and said, "Then it's you." Chen Mu approached the brand new creature in front of him. Pray evolution. The creature's body instantly turned into golden light and sank into Chen Mu's body bit by bit. After the golden light dispersed, Chen Mu's body was also covered by the golden light. Both bodies turned into a ball of light. The ball of light is then reshaped into a new body. Chen Mu regained consciousness. He looked at his body and then looked back to see a pair of wings growing on his back. He withdrew his gaze, looked at the sky, his body sank slightly, and he jumped up. With a beat of its wings, it flew directly into the sky with the help of the wind. Soon, he was flying into the air, with his limbs hanging in the air. This feeling was very novel. He looked down subconsciously. With his naked eyesight alone, Chen Mu could see a wide field of view. Suddenly, Chen Mu's eyes locked on an adult zebra below. He flapped his huge wings and pounced on the adult zebra. The zebra was startled, turned around and ran away. Chen Mu didn't use his acceleration ability, he just relied on his gliding speed to get closer. He raised his sharp claws, which were fused with eagle claws and lion claws, and grabbed the zebra. The sharpness directly pierced the zebra's body, and the weight directly threw the zebra to the ground. Chen Mu opened his sharp beak and tore the zebra's throat directly in one bite. The zebra struggled for a moment, but under the pressure of Chen Mu's huge body, it was unable to move and could only slowly die. Chen Mu stepped on the adult zebra and said, "It's good in terms of strength and speed, much stronger than a simple lion." "So what should this new creature be named?" Chen Mu muttered, "A combination of a lion and a vulture, huh?" Chen Mu frowned subconsciously, "When I think about it, why does it feel like some kind of fantasy creature, a griffin? Ah! I have created a fantasy griffin without knowing it." Chen Mu exclaimed subconsciously, and he opened his mouth, "Impossible, such a coincidence." Thinking about it, Chen Mu looked at himself now through his consciousness. "Isn't this a fantasy griffin?" The corner of Chen Mu's mouth twitched. "This thing is used as a mount in those myths." Forget it, Chen Mu was too lazy to think about it, it was just a coincidence. With Chen Mu's current size, if humans really wanted to ride him, Chen Mu wouldn't mind eating one for dinner. Chen Mu flapped his wings and flew up. He hunted the zebras simply to test his speed and strength, and he was not hungry now. Chen Mu felt the wind coming towards him and enjoyed the pleasure brought by this unique flight. Slowly, Chen Mu had a new idea. "Wait a minute, I could turn other creatures into lions before, and get new creatures by feeding lions to perform gluttonous evolution. Does that mean I can also use the transformation ability to turn those animals into my current appearance, and then continue to use gluttonous evolution? Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first." Author, Chen Wunian. Chapter 112. Chen Mu wanted to transform himself into a griffin and gain some evolution again. Therefore, Chen Mufei began to observe the beasts below in mid-air. Chen Mu saw a herd of zebras. Zebra? Running fast, with black and white stripes. It's useless. He saw a cheetah. Cheetahs are fast runners and are the strongest sprinting animals, but they have poor endurance. Rubbish. He saw a pride of lions. I already have the genes of a lion, so I'll be next. He saw the elephant herd again. Elephants are large but bulky, characterized by their huge bodies and flexible trunks. The thought of my nose turning into an elephant's trunk. The corner of Chen Mu's mouth twitched and he directly denied it. He didn't like his nose looking like that. As for body size, if I want to get bigger, maybe it would be more appropriate to devour a blue whale. If it were the largest mammal in the world, it would be the blue whale. Elephants are just the largest animals on land. It's just that, the huge body size, the energy consumed every day also becomes huge. I can evolve to hunt blue whales through gluttony, but even if I really get the size of a blue whale, I can't estimate it based on the number of creatures on this land. How long will I eat before I starve to death? Chen Mu shook his head and rejected the idea. Although Chen Mu was a little interested in body shape, thinking that he might starve to death, he didn't want to do it. After all, land is not the ocean, and there is too little food. The main problem why land animals cannot reproduce freely is lack of food. Whether it's competition among the same kind or being hunted by other predators, it's all about food. If there's enough food, most organisms can thrive. But there are too few, so those animals will limit their own numbers due to food reasons. If there are too many species, there will be less food, and then the animals in the species will starve to death. When there are few species, there will be more food. When there is more food, the number of races increases. When there is less food, the number of races decreases again. In this way, the number of racial animals and the amount of food are always maintained in a sustainable balance without becoming unbalanced. Of course, Chenmu can turn into a giant beast and stay in the ocean. The ocean has ample food supply for Chenmu, but the problem is that Chenmu now has wings and can survive on land and soar in the sky. His brain only when it gets flooded will it choose to go back to the sea. Therefore, Chenmu was interested in increasing his body size, but because there was too little food, he could only choose to give up temporarily. Chenmu circled around in the African sky, observing many animals. Basically, Chenmu didn't have much interest in all animals. These animals are not as powerful as lions. Of course, the speed of some herbivores interests Chenmu, but to achieve that speed, he has to sacrifice his claws and turn them into hooves, which Chenmu cannot accept no matter what. He flapped his wings and slowly landed on a boulder. At present, it seems that this body is perfect. Thinking of this, Chenmu suddenly caught sight of a small gadget. It was a dark scorpion. The scorpion was standing on a stone in the distance. Scorpion. Chenmu immediately thought of the poison of scorpions. Scorpion poison. Scorpion venom is a very scary thing. The tail of the scorpion has a venom sac. If the scorpion's poisonous needle stings the human body, the venom released instantly will cause extreme pain and cause convulsions, paralysis, and more serious cases, directly leading to cardiac arrest and respiratory failure. This thing may be small, but it's deadly. That tail seems very strong. If my tail turns into a scorpion's tail. Chenmu shook his head, that would be too ugly. It is true that this can enhance Chenmu's attack power, just like obtaining a biological weapon, but the question is, does Chenmu need this biological weapon? Is there any creature that he can't kill now? An extra scorpion tail would be the icing on the cake, and in Chenmu's opinion, it might not be just a flower, because the handsome lion's tail turned into a scorpion's tail, and this appearance would directly lose points. However, Chenmu is still a little interested in scorpions. So far, Chenmu has transformed into many creatures, including fish, mammals, and birds, but he has never transformed into an arthropod such as a scorpion. Then it's up to you. In a blink of an eye, Chenmu came to the scorpion, raised his paw, and pressed it towards the scorpion. Before the scorpion could react, Chenmu had already touched it. Prey evolution. Chenmu was covered in golden light. Chenmu's size gradually became smaller, and finally turned into the shape of a scorpion. He raised his stinger and looked at it, then looked away. Once the transformation ability was used, his body returned to the form of a griffin. He turned into a scorpion just to collect samples. In this way, he could turn into a scorpion at will. We have to think about the next evolution, Chenmu muttered. Although with the predatory evolution, Chenmu can become anything he wants, but this is not important to Chenmu. What is important is the two abilities he can obtain every time he evolves into another creature. Those two abilities are the most important. At present, the special predatory evolution and gluttony evolution obviously cannot bring new abilities to Chenmu. In other words, if he wants to gain new abilities, he can only use the normal accumulated evolutionary energy progress. There are no tasks now, that is to say, the evolutionary energy progress can only be accumulated through swallowing or predation. After so many evolutions, the required evolutionary energy progress is definitely not a small amount. I guess I don't know if I can fill the evolutionary energy progress by swallowing all the creatures in Africa, Chenmu muttered. Forget it, Chenmu didn't care, this is not something I should consider. If all the animals in Africa are swallowed up, then swallow them all. The Earth has experienced natural disasters such as mass extinction before, so why can't there be another natural disaster? For example, let me be the natural disaster this time. Chenmu looked at the lion group below, he flapped his wings and pounced directly into the lion group. Devour! One lion after another turned into golden light and was swallowed by Chenmu. Soon, the lion group disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye, and all of them were converted into evolutionary energy by Chenmu. He continued to fly up and look for other creatures. Chenmu chose to devour any creatures, no matter what they were. They were just evolutionary energy in front of Chenmu. In Africa, no animal was bigger than Chenmu, not even an elephant. Chenmu could also double his size and become a creature bigger than it. If that still couldn't make him bigger than an elephant, he would use violence and turn the elephant into minced meat. But that couldn't be bigger than Chenmu, right? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chenwu Nian. Chapter 113. Chenmu devoured the animals in Africa like crazy. This lasted for a month. However, what surprised Chenmu was that, after a month, there was no progress in his evolutionary energy. System, how much energy do I need to evolve next time? The system answered Chenmu in a mechanical voice, the evolutionary energy required for the next evolution is 100 million evolutionary energy points and it is currently 211 points. Hearing this, Chenmu took a breath of cold air. 100 million. And now Chenmu has been devouring for a month, and there are only more than 200 points? Then when will it be full? Isn't this nonsense? Chenmu suddenly had a headache and was depressed. Now the number of animals is getting smaller and smaller because of my devouring. If I continue like this, I guess all the animals in Africa will be gone before I complete the next evolution, Chenmu was thinking. What should I do? I have to devour organisms to obtain evolutionary energy. If I want to devour organisms, where can I get enough organisms? Chenmu's mind suddenly moved, farming. Chenmu's mouth twitched, no way, do you want me to do farming? Thinking of this, Chenmu suddenly had a headache. If I want to do farming, it will take me a long time. Chenmu muttered. But Chenmu thought again, no. If I use my abilities to breed, it will be different. According to the energy stipulated by the system, the higher the creature is in the food chain, the more energy it can obtain. In this African savanna, the creature at the top of the food chain is the lion. If I want to obtain evolutionary energy quickly, then the lion is the most suitable. But it takes too long to breed lions. A lioness needs to be pregnant for more than 100 days to give birth to 1-6 lion cubs. The most terrible thing is that lions cannot be kept in captivity for feeding. In other words, if the lion cubs are fed with the help of Chenmu, they will also have to go through the elimination of nature and will still be depressed in the end. Simply raising lions is definitely not enough. But, what if I catch a lioness and let her devour the queen ant to obtain the queen ant's genes? In this way, I can get more evolutionary energy by devouring these new creatures, and at the same time, these things reproduce very quickly, which can be said to be endless. In this way, I can devour them crazily to obtain evolutionary energy. Thinking of this, Chenmu's blood boiled. Okay. He did it as he said. Lions are not difficult to obtain, but the problem is that queen ants are not easy to get. Chenmu's conscious vision can't see things in the land. Well. Chenmu thought for a while, there is a way. Chenmu slowly landed on the ground, looked around, and locked his sight on a small ant climbing on the tree. Chen Mu walked over, raised his claws, and touched it. Evolution by predation. The ant turned into golden light and was devoured by Chen Mu. Chen Mu's huge body was also wrapped in golden light and slowly shrank. The golden light dissipated. An ant appeared on the ground. It was Chen Mu. Chen Mu looked around through the eyes of the ant. Really interesting. Chen Mu saw a blurry world. He subconsciously lifted his feet and looked around. When he was close enough, he could barely see clearly. High myopia is just like this. Forget it. Trying to see the eyesight through the eyes of an ant is a joke in itself. Ants have a lot of compound eyes, and these compound eyes are many, many small holes. Ants are equivalent to seeing the world through countless small holes. Their eyesight is very poor. Compared with humans, they are almost blind. Chen Mu opened his conscious vision, and his vision became clear all of a sudden. As an ant, Chen Mu can capture a certain biochemical hormone that permeates the surroundings through the two antennae on his head. Through this biochemical hormone, Chen Mu's head can clearly realize that this is left by his companions. Ants' antennae are their communication tools. They have no language, so they communicate through antennae and the biochemical hormones they release. If two ants meet, they will touch their antennae to communicate. Or tell your companions where there is food, or judge whether the other party is your companion or your enemy. After all, ants are not all from the same group. If ants from different groups meet, it will be a fight. Chen Mu's purpose of becoming an ant is very simple. He wants to find the queen ant, so the easiest way is naturally to become an ant. Through the translation ability given by the system, he can communicate with the ants after becoming an ant. At this time, Chen Mu happened to see an ant passing by in front of him. Seeing the ant, Chen Mu walked over. Hey! The ant heard the sound and looked over here subconsciously. Ants cannot make sounds, and their communication methods are almost all based on biochemical hormones. But Chen Mu has a system, and the system can send what Chen Mu wants to express directly into the target's head. At the same time, the target's words are sent into Chen Mu's head through language. The external expression is directly language, but in fact, if outsiders look at the ants, they will find that the ants are not speaking. Chen Mu said, I have something important here. I have to find the queen ant. Can you lead the way? The ant came over and touched Chen Mu's antennae with its antennae. Follow me. After confirming that Chen Mu was a companion, the ant went straight in one direction. With its intelligence, it naturally didn't know what Chen Mu wanted to do, but it received the information conveyed by Chen Mu. If a companion wanted to do something, it would naturally help. Ants are very united animals. Chen Mu followed the ant forward. While walking, Chen Mu observed the ant. The belly and feet of the ant in front of him were dark orange, and the head and body were black. What kind of ant is this? Chen Mu is not sure. The ant that Chen Mu has turned into now is called an army ant. There are many varieties and types of ants, and the one in front of him is an army ant. Not long after, Chen Mu saw the nest in front of him. When he saw the nest, Chen Mu felt his soul was shocked. If Chen Mu, as a griffin, saw this scene, he would not feel anything, but because Chen Mu's body size has shrunk, the world he sees feels bigger. This scene shocked Chen Mu. Countless ants intertwined to form a nest. This nest was actually made up of ants' bodies. These ants were still alive, but this scene still shocked Chen Mu. Are there ants that use their bodies to build nests? Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wunian. Chapter 114. It is now night, and there is a full moon in the sky. Army ants are different from the ants that Chen Mu knows. Many ants will build their own nests, and stay in the nests except for foraging. Army ants are always on the road, and eat whatever they encounter along the way. If there are any blind things, they will kill them directly and turn them into food. They eat almost everything. During World War II, an army accidentally broke into the gathering place of army ants, and as a result, the army was eaten by the army ants and more than 1,000 skeletons were left. They are always migrating, and there are 1 to 2 million army ants in a marching ant team. Of course, they still have to rest at night. When the army ants rest, they will bite each other and use their bodies to build a temporary nest. Of course, they only use biting to fix their bodies, not to bite them to death directly. The nest they built would have the largest number of worker ants at the outermost edge, and then inside would be soldier ants, male ants, small ants, and queen ants. When encountering an enemy, soldier ants would take the initiative to come out to meet the enemy. This temporary nest would be removed the next day. The nest that Chen Mu saw in front of him was this temporary nest. Chen Mu was shocked, and the marching ant continued to lead Chen Mu into the nest. He saw the queen ant at the innermost of the nest. The queen ant was resting and noticed that a worker ant was coming with a soldier ant. The queen ant was puzzled. Why are you not building a nest outside, running here? The worker ant said, Wang, he said he has something urgent to do and wants to see Wang. Upon hearing this, the queen ant looked at Chen Mu. Chen Mu rushed towards the queen ant without saying a word. As soon as he approached, his body pounced on the queen ant. As soon as he touched, capture evolution. The queen ant's body instantly turned into golden light. Under the gaze of the nearby ants, the queen ant and Chen Mu turned into golden light together and merged with each other. The other ants were a little confused. With their brains, they naturally couldn't understand what was going on. The golden light slowly dissipated. A brand new queen ant appeared in front of the ants. This queen ant was Chen Mu. Wang, are you okay? The worker ant judged that the queen ant in front of him was their queen ant through biochemical information. Chen Mu said, it's okay. This voice is a female voice. The moment he heard this voice, Chen Mu got goosebumps all over his body. This time the sacrifice is a bit big. Let a steel straight man become a female. Forget it. Chen Mu was too lazy to think about it. He said, next, I have an order. Order, the surrounding ants showed confusion. What order? The atmosphere of confusion filled the surroundings. Chen Mu raised the corner of his mouth and said, the order is, you all go to hell. The voice fell. Chen Mu's body suddenly turned into a griffin, and the moment he turned into a griffin, his devouring ability was used. When the army ants touched Chen Mu's body, they all turned into golden light and were swallowed by Chen Mu. Chen Mu's goal was to get the queen ant, and the other ants were all garbage. Once they were solved, the problem was solved. After killing the queen ants, Chen Mu flapped his wings and flew away. He went to find a lion. Griffins evolved from lions, so Chen Mu could no longer use his ability to transform other creatures into lions. In other words, Chen Mu could only find a lion again. Fortunately, now that he had the queen ant, he could turn other creatures into queen ants, which would facilitate the next experiment. Through the consciousness vision, it was not difficult to find a lion. Because Chen Mu's target this time was a lioness, and there were many more lionesses than male lions. Soon, Chen Mu found the lioness and caught her through his control ability. Then he randomly found a creature and turned it into a queen ant and fed the lioness. After feeding 5 queen ants, Chen Mu saw that the lioness was glowing with a golden halo, which was very bright in the quiet night. Chen Mu looked at the scene and said, it started. The lioness's body began to shrink under Chen Mu's gaze, becoming only half the size of the original. The golden light dissipated. A brand new creature appeared in front of Chen Mu. Its body had the skin of a lion, and at the same time it was fused with the skin of an ant, and a lion's head, but its eyes were like the eyes of an ant. This creature was very strange, and it could be said to be a monster, too ugly to look at. As soon as it appeared, before Chen Mu could see it clearly, it fell to the ground and died. This scene was too familiar. This situation also occurred when Chen Mu did the fusion experiment of lions and vultures before. That is, although the genes of the two animals were fused, the new body could not adapt, could not survive, and died directly. Chen Mu frowned. In fact, Chen Mu did not need ants very much. What he wanted was the reproductive ability of the queen ant. But it was too difficult for a mammal to merge its genes with an insect. This was much more difficult than the fusion of mammals and birds. It seems that this gene fusion plan is not easy. Although it is not easy, it is impossible for Chen Mu to give up. Since it is difficult, let's try more. I don't believe it won't work, Chen Mu muttered. Wait a minute. Suddenly, Chen Mu had a new idea. If I turn an ant into a lion and then devour it, can I get the same evolutionary energy as a lion? Chen Mu's eyes lit up slightly. If it was possible, it would save a lot of trouble. Ants are almost inexhaustible and can be turned into lions infinitely, then. The body of an ant is an ant. No matter what the ability to change the body turns into, that thing only has the evolutionary energy of the body. Friendly reminder, the current evolutionary energy of an ant is 0.0001. Before Chen Mu finished speaking, the system's friendly reminder sounded. Chen Mu's mouth twitched. It seems that this system does not give Chen Mu a chance to get a bug. Yes, if an ant can be used as a lion, then. Chen Mu thought about it and said, then if I use lions and ants to perform gluttony evolution, the evolutionary energy of the new creature cultivated. After gluttony evolution, it belongs to a new creature, the system prompt sounded. Upon hearing this, Chen Mu was moved. In other words, it is feasible to create a new creature. Go on, Chen Mu said, I must make that new creature. Chen Mu flapped his wings and went to find the next lioness. Begin the experiment. Second experiment. Shrinking in size, mixing genes, the experimental subject died. Shrinking in size, lion body, ant head, survived for 1 hour, the experimental subject died. The body size remains unchanged, ant body, survived for half an hour, the experimental subject died. The body size remains unchanged, lion body, lion head, ant antennae, did not inherit the ant's reproductive genes, the experiment failed. After more than 300 experiments, Chen Mu finally got a brand new creature. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wu Nian. Chapter 115. This is. The brand new creature in front of him was completely different from what Chen Mu had imagined. It was half the size of a lion, with a pair of wings and a fluffy body. It looked like a giant bumblebee. What's going on? When Chen Mu uses gluttony evolution, he uses lions to eat ants. But something like this evolved in front of me, and it turned out to be a bee? Chen Mu didn't understand, but this was actually not surprising. Gene mutations can lead to a variety of conditions, or the evolution of characteristics that have never appeared before, or they can cause atavism, which means the emergence of genes that were previously abandoned. The ancestor of ants is a creature called a wasp. The overlord ant wasp is the ancestor of ants and the ancestor of bees. Later, with the subsequent evolution, it became ants and bees. Chen Mu's gluttonous evolution caused the ant genes to mutate into genes similar to those of bees. Forget it, let's see how long this thing can live first. Chen Mu also knew that genetic mutation was highly uncertain. Although he was a little surprised, he was only slightly surprised and continued his experiment. Under Chen Mu's control, this giant hornet flew in mid-air for about 3 minutes. The giant bumblebee stopped flying immediately, fell to the ground, and became motionless. Dead. Sure enough, it's like this again. Chen Mu approached and touched the bumblebee, and the bumblebee turned into golden light and was swallowed by Chen Mu. This time, the bumblebee did not exceed Chen Mu's expectations. Chen Mu found that as long as his experimental subjects had too many ant-like appearances, they would not be able to last for an hour even if they looked normal. The result analyzed by the system was death from lack of oxygen. Insects, that is, ants, bees and the like, their breathing methods are completely different from humans. Insects do not have lungs, so humans need lungs to breathe. Insects do not have lungs, and their way of breathing is through spiracles. These valves are similar to human nostrils and are in direct contact with the outside air. The oxygen obtained by the valve is directly transported to the whole body through the trachea in the insect's body. But the problem is that when the insect is too large, the oxygen obtained by the valve cannot be transported to the whole body through the trachea in time. The difference between valve respiration and pulmonary respiration means that insects cannot be too large, otherwise they will die. In Chen Mu's experiment, due to genetic reasons, the ant's genes will take the initiative. When the ant's genes gain a larger size and turn into valve breathing, they will die because they cannot adapt to the environment. For Chen Mu, it didn't matter. What he wanted was not the body of the ant, but the ability to reproduce as a queen. In Chen Mu's opinion, the best result is that the experimental subject maintains the appearance of a lion and has the reproductive ability of a queen ant. This is what Chen Mu wants most. However, Chen Mu knew very well that this would require too many experimental subjects. Chen Mu didn't care either. Even if he kills all the lions in Africa, he still wants to breed lions with the genes for queen ant reproduction. A full month passed in this way. During this month, Chen Mu conducted thousands of experiments. Finally, a brand new creature appeared in front of Chen Mu. This creature, from the looks of it, is a lioness. It may seem like nothing. Chen Mu subconsciously asked, "System, what genes did it acquire?" The system said in that unique mechanical tone, "Its reproductive system is combined with the reproductive system of the queen ant, and it also acquires some genes from the queen." Chen Mu's eyes lit up. Isn't this exactly what he wants? Good. Chen Mu released his control over the creature in front of him. The creature came back to its senses, glanced at Chen Mu subconsciously, and quickly turned around and ran away. Chen Mu opened his consciousness and stared at it. We have to give it a name. Since it is a combination of ants and lions are the main ones, then, ant-lion? Ant-lion seems to be called that by another creature, so let's change it. Then if the ants build such a temporary nest, they should be called marching ants. The marching lion apparently still had memories of being a lioness, so it returned to its pride. The other lions accepted the lioness as usual. Chen Mu observed the female marching lion through his conscious vision. Over time, like the rest of the pride, the leading male lion breeds with the female marching lion. Seeing this, Chen Mu suddenly became excited. Has it started yet? At first, the marching lion was no different from other lions, but after mating, the changes began. The female marching lion's abdomen began to swell. The back of the abdomen bulges, and the belly bulges with it. The other lions in the pride looked at the appearance of the female marching lion, and they were a little confused. At first, the female marching lion was still walking. But as the abdomen grew larger and larger, it directly touched the ground, and it completely lost the ability to move. When the lions saw that it was a female marching lion, they abandoned her. The female marching lion could only lie quietly and wait for death. See this scene through the vision of consciousness. Chen Mu knew that if he didn't intervene, the female marching lion would be dead. At present, it seems that the female marching lion has a bulging abdomen like the queen ant because of the child, but it is different from the queen ant. The queen ant of the marching ant has her abdomen at the back, so she can move, but her abdomen is in the middle, which makes it impossible to use the hind legs and can only lie on the ground and wait for death. It will not die directly because of losing its mobility. If no one saves it, it will die, and the cause of death is starvation. Just when the female marching lion felt that it was doomed, it closed its eyes. At this time, accompanied by a gust of wind, As a griffin, Chen Mu fell beside the female marching lion with the body of an adult zebra in his mouth. The female marching lion was stunned and looked at Chen Mu. Chen Mu tore off a piece of meat and threw it in front of the female marching lion. The female marching lion looked at Chen Mu in confusion, but the food was in front of her, and as an animal, she did not hesitate much and opened her mouth to eat directly. The female marching lion seems to have a very large appetite. An adult zebra was enough to feed a lion group, but Chen Mu found that it ate the adult zebra and was almost not full. However, this is not surprising. After all, it is pregnant, and it must be pregnant with more than one cub. The energy required is huge. In order to prevent accidents, leave the clone behind and go hunting and feed it. This thing is the result of Chen Mu's more than a month, and Chen Mu doesn't want it to die. You know, there are not many lions in Africa now, and they can no longer support Chen Mu to continue his experiments. If this thing dies, then Chen Mu's plan will be in vain. When it is unable to move, Chen Mu decides to feed it himself. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wunian. Chapter 116. After Chen Mu fed the marching lion 3 adult zebras, when Chen Mu brought back the 4th adult zebra, it stopped eating, obviously it was full. Chen Mu slowly found a place, lay down, looked at the marching lion in front of him, and observed. Now the marching lion had no self-protection ability, Chen Mu could only protect and feed it himself. This feeding lasted for a week. The marching lion's belly had swelled beyond recognition, but the marching lion did not die. Chen Mu noticed that the marching lion looked like a lion before, but in fact its abdomen and waist were usually contracted, and it looked like a lion, but now after pregnancy, because the abdomen swelled, the contracted position also began to expand. This expansion can completely show that its abdomen and waist are exactly the same as the abdomen of the queen ant. This expansion, the size of the expansion is dozens of times the original body of the lioness. It looks very scary. Ants are a type of insect. During mating, the queen ant has a spermatophore in her body, which stores the sperm obtained and uses it when needed. Some species of ants have a behavior called nuptial flight. At that time, the queen ant and the king ant will grow wings and fly around to mate. A queen ant will mate with many king ants to get what she needs. When the queen ant has stored enough needs, she will fall to the ground, her wings will fall off, and then she will build a nest and lay eggs. The sperm she obtains is enough for the queen ant to reproduce for a lifetime. The king ant died after that time. The queen ant of the marching ant is different. They migrate all the way and mate with other male ants many times. The queen ant of the marching ant will have a rest period of about 2 or 3 weeks. During this period, it will lay 250,000 eggs. During this period, because there will be a lot of eggs stored in the body, the abdomen will become larger. Just like the marching lion in front of him. Chen Mu asked the clone to guard here and go to find food by himself. On the second night, Chen Mu heard a low roar. He woke up from his dream, raised his head and looked at the marching lion. The scene in front of him made Chen Mu's eyes light up slightly. He flapped his wings and flew over. A closer look revealed that eggs were lying behind the marching lion. This marching lion inherited the reproductive system of the queen ant. Although this kind of reproduction is a bit exaggerated, it did not cause any damage to it. It's just that the eggs it laid are about the same size as a young lion. Because the eggs are wrapped inside, Chen Mu can see what's inside. Oviparous, Chen Mu walked around the egg. Lions are mammals and are viviparous, while ants are insects and are oviparous. However, the marching ants are different from ordinary ants. The eggs laid by the queen of the marching ants will be carried by the worker ants and migrate together. Of course, although Chen Mu used the genes of the queen of the army ants, it is unknown how many habits of the army ants the army lion has now. At least, looking at the current situation, it is impossible for this queen of the army lion to migrate. I just don't know when the egg can hatch. The army lion is still producing, and the eggs are increasing one by one. Forget it, just watch it first, Chen Mu muttered. He flapped his wings and flew away. Time passed little by little. Chen Mu waited quietly. The number of eggs increased. Soon, the army lion was surrounded by white eggs. It was estimated that there were already thousands of eggs here. Just like that, a week later, Chen Mu, who was lying on the stone, heard a sound. He raised his head and looked at the source of the sound. There was a crack on a white egg over there. A claw poked out of the egg. Chen Mu flapped his wings, flew up, and landed next to the egg. The egg cracked. The creature inside slowly crawled out. Seeing the creature in front of him, Chen Mu's pupils trembled slightly. This creature looked exactly like an ant, with a pair of antennae on its head. It was very large, and its size was completely larger than that of an ant. Its antennae moved, and its eyes looked at Chen Mu. When it looked at him, Chen Mu suddenly felt goosebumps all over his body. In Chen Mu's memory, ants were blind, and they couldn't see themselves clearly. But at this moment, Chen Mu felt that the ant was staring at him, and looked at him from top to bottom. After it finished looking, it walked away. At this time, one egg after another cracked. One giant ant after another came out of the egg. Chen Mu was surprised to find that none of these giant ants had the external features of a lion. After seeing Chen Mu, these giant ants didn't care about Chen Mu. Instead, they all moved closer to their king, the marching lion. When the marching lion saw these children, it was a little confused and a little scared. It seemed that it could not recognize these children. It seemed that it wanted to run, but its body could not move. But when it was uneasy, the giant ants looked at it, as if waiting for something. Why is this happening? Chen Mu was puzzled. Before, Chen Mu had done experiments. As long as the targets in the experiments looked like ants, it would be difficult for them to move and they would not survive for more than an hour before they would die. But the scene in front of him made Chen Mu unable to understand. These giant ants were as big as a young lion, but they moved easily, unlike the previous experimental targets, who suffered from hypoxia and physical discomfort. System, what's going on? Chen Mu asked the system. However, maybe this time the system thought it had nothing to do with ability, so it did not answer Chen Mu's question. Chen Mu frowned. This system was simply a tutorial for beginners, only explaining some basic problems. At this time, the marching lion was terrified. And those giant ants looked at each other, but they didn't know what to do. For a while, the entire giant ant group became a mess. This group of giant ants was like an army at the moment, but no one gave orders to this army, so it became a little messy. Chen Mu flapped his wings and flew to the marching lion. He looked at the marching lion and said, "Give them an order." The marching lion looked at Chen Mu. Chen Mu said, "Let them go out to find food." When the marching lion heard this, it was stunned and a little puzzled, but thinking of the food that Chen Mu had been giving it, it subconsciously looked at the giant ants and said, "Find food." When the giant ants heard this, they stopped making noise and began to move in an orderly manner. These thousands of giant ants began to disperse and look for prey. Seeing this, Chen Mu understood. It was indeed like this. These giant ants still maintain the unique habits of ants. In the ant colony, the queen ant is the supreme existence, and its orders must be obeyed, and other ants act in accordance with the queen ant's orders. If the queen ant does not give orders, the ant colony will be in chaos. Warm reminder, if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to inform us. We will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wunian. Chapter 117. In an ant colony, if the queen cannot give orders, it will lead to chaos in the ant colony. When the ant colony is in chaos, some ant colonies will drive away the queen, and some will even kill the queen, and then select a new queen. Generally speaking, when a queen lays eggs, it will leave various eggs. When an ant colony loses its queen, the remaining ants will select the fertilized eggs and cultivate male and female ants. Then one of the female ants is selected as the queen. In fact, the ants that often come out to carry things and find food are worker ants, and the worker ants themselves are female ants, but these worker ants are small and have no reproductive ability. Although they are female ants, it is impossible for worker ants to become queens. If you want to become a queen, you can only cultivate it again. Of course, these are the habits of ants. Chen Mu looked at the marching lion in front of him. This marching lion combines the genes of lions and marching ants, but as it seems now, it still thinks of itself as a lion. Is the giant ant born by this thing a lion or an ant? Chen Mu looked at the huge army of thousands of giant ants in front of him. Ants usually lay eggs, and after the eggs hatch, ant larvae come out. Ant larvae have no ability to take care of themselves. They are white and fat, without legs, and can only be fed by other ants. Later, they become pupae and then break out of cocoons to become real ants. And this new creature in front of him directly ignored these steps. After coming out of the egg, it already has the ability to take care of itself. From this point of view, they are completely different from lions and marching ants. Chen Mu looked back at the marching lion beside him. Next to the marching lion, there are 6 giant ants that are obviously larger than others standing on the left and right of the marching lion. It seems that they are protecting the marching lion as the queen ant. Soldier ants, Chen Mu muttered. There is a clear division of labor within the ant colony. Among them are worker ants, who are responsible for finding and carrying food. After the worker ants, there are soldier ants. Soldier ants are responsible for protecting the nest. They have no ability to eat and can only be fed by worker ants. Their daily routine is to protect eggs, larvae, and queen ants. From the outside, all you can see of these soldier ants is that they are in a daze. With these soldier ants protecting this marching lion, it doesn't matter. Chen Mu flapped his wings and flew up. Flying into the air, he looked at the giant ants below. Some of these worker ants scattered, probably looking for food in a scattered manner. This is indeed much faster. Chen Mu wanted to know why these giant ants could survive for so long even though they looked like ants. So, he found a giant ant that was far away and pounced on it. The claws fell. Directly crushed the giant ant to death. After crushing it to death, Chen Mu saw the situation inside the giant ant, and took a look. Chen Mu was stunned. This is. Generally, insects breathe through valves and trachea that are densely distributed throughout their bodies, so there is no such thing as lungs in insects. But when Chen Mu crushed the insect in front of him, he saw the organs in the body of this giant ant. In the body of this giant ant, you can see scarlet blood and 2 lungs. In an instant, Chen Mu understood. No wonder. Because of the unique respiratory system of insects, when they are too large, they will die of lack of oxygen due to inadaptability to the environment. But these giant ants in front of them have the lung respiratory system of mammals. Therefore, even if they are huge, they can get enough oxygen. With enough oxygen, they can move freely. Swallow. Chen Mu swallowed the giant ant. The system did not make any sound. Hearing this, Chen Mu said, "System, I want to know how much evolutionary energy this thing has brought me." The target just swallowed has obtained 0.7 evolutionary energy. The mechanical voice of the system came. Hearing this, Chen Mu's eyes lit up slightly, and he said, 0.7. This is a bit more than a lion. Previously, the average evolutionary energy of a lion was only about 0.5. This thing looks like an ant, but because of its size, it is judged to be a creature more advanced than a lion. This is what Shenmue cares about most, whether this giant ant can provide him with enough evolutionary energy. Now it seems that it can be done. Next, just let them get enough food, and then let the marching lion continue to lay eggs. These giant ants look exactly like ants, but in fact they still have lion genes in their bodies. They seem to be able to see my appearance clearly, and I guess they inherited the vision of lions. Shenmue muttered. Now it seems that the genes of marching lions are not stable, which is why they give birth to such a completely different creature. It seems that we have to change the name. This thing looks like an ant, and its habits are similar to ants, but it has lion genes in its body, so it is called lion ant beast. This name is not bad, Shenmue muttered. Time passed day by day. The number of lion anteaters increased, and the lion anteaters that hatched from the eggs grew bigger day by day. When they encountered other creatures, they would pounce on them directly, whether they encountered hyenas, wild dogs, lions, or elephants. Basically, once they pounce on them, their huge jaws can tear the animals to pieces. But as time goes by, almost all the animals nearby are eaten by the lion ant beast group. Gradually, some lion ant beasts starve to death because they are too hungry. These lion ant beasts do not eat their companions, but if they do not eat their companions, more and more lion ant beasts will die of starvation. Shenmue frowned as he looked at the lion ant beasts that died of hunger in front of him. This won't work. If we continue like this group of lion ant beasts will probably die before they develop. There is too little food in Africa. It seems that the lion ant beasts have failed. Shenmue directly opened his swallowing ability and pounced into the group of lion ant beasts. Swallow. One by one, the lion ant beasts were swallowed by Shenmue and converted into Shenmue's evolutionary energy. Shenmue felt like harvesting vegetables. After cultivating the lion ant beast group for so long, it was finally time to harvest. However, Shenmue's goal was to have endless lion ant beasts so that he could obtain endless evolutionary energy, but now it is obviously not up to expectations. I can only swallow them all first. After swallowing all the lion ant beasts, Shenmue looked at the marching lion in front of him. The marching lion's belly was still very big, and it was lying on the ground. Although it was not dead, its eyes were only gray. It must be very desperate after being completely turned into a production tool. Shenmue said, "I will help you get rid of it." Shenmue's body turned into a marching ant, touched the marching lion, and said, "Evolution by predation." The marching lion was swallowed by Shenmue. Shenmue's body turned into a marching lion. Of course, this is a marching lion that is not pregnant yet, and its body looks like a lioness. Shenmue turned back into a griffin, flapped his wings and flew up. The experiment of the lion ant beast failed. It seems that it is not so easy to obtain endless evolutionary energy. I have to think of a new way. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Shenwu Nian. Chapter 118. System, how many evolutionary energy points do I have now? You currently have 1,637 evolutionary points. The emotionless voice of the system came. Shenmue's eyebrows stretched. I feel good. I ran here for a month before and only got more than 200 points. This time, I raised these lion ant beasts and got more than 1,000 points at once. It seems that this direction is not wrong. If I can completely solve the food problem of the lion ant beasts, then I can have a constant supply of evolutionary energy, and I can evolve infinitely and get infinite energy. The question is, how can I solve the problem of food? Shenmue thought about it. Suddenly, he seemed to notice something, flapped his wings, and hovered in the air. Shenmue's eyes looked down, stopped in the sky, and looked down. In his field of vision, he saw a group of creatures that looked like cows. Unlike common cows, They are huge, black, and have a pair of big horns. This is the African buffalo, a herbivorous creature that dares to compete with lions. The African buffalo and the lions on the grassland can be said to be a pair of strong enemies. Unlike other herbivores, most herbivores subconsciously avoid lions, but the African buffalo is a creature that will actively attack lions. Especially when seeing lion cubs, these African buffaloes will attack them crazily. Lions can be said to be the focus of these African buffaloes. Although African buffaloes do not eat meat, they just like to kill lions. The fighting power of African buffaloes is very strong. There is a chance that they will be killed by lions in a one-on-one fight with lions. Of course, sometimes lions have to pay a price, even their lives. Once a photographer took a video of a male lion actively attacking an adult African buffalo, and was killed by the African buffalo. However, even African buffaloes are just food for lion ants. After all, the lion ants raised by Chen Mu all move in groups. These African buffaloes are equivalent to food. It was just when he saw this thing that Chen Mu had an idea. How about making the lion ant beast a vegetarian? If the lion ant beast can get the energy it needs for activities from grass, wouldn't it be able to completely solve the food problem? Think and do. Chen Mu did not hesitate. He slowly landed on a stone, stood on it, and looked at the African buffaloes in front of him. Buffaloes usually live in groups, and there are groups of buffaloes in front of him. Chen Mu used his control ability to control one of the buffaloes, and used the ability sharing and transformation ability to turn it into a marching lion. When a buffalo turned into a lion under the gaze of the nearby buffaloes, the buffaloes next to it were a little confused at first, and then one of the buffaloes showed an angry look, pounced on the lion, raised its horns, and directly pushed it up. Seeing this, Chen Mu's mouth corners rose. This saves me some trouble. Gluttony evolution. As soon as the buffalo touched the marching lion, it was swallowed by the gluttony evolution. When the attacking buffalo touched it, it turned into golden light and was swallowed by the marching lion. The other buffaloes were stunned when they saw this, and they didn't seem to know what was going on. For a moment, they didn't know whether to attack or not. Chen Mu didn't intend to waste time. He controlled the marching lion to pounce on the nearby buffalo. Through gluttony evolution, it devoured 4 more buffaloes in a row. After meeting the conditions for devouring 5 animals, the marching lion was wrapped in golden light. Start gluttony evolution. Ants are omnivores, they can eat both vegetarian and meat. Of course, the so-called vegetarian is fruit and other things, not grass. Lions are carnivores. Of course some lions will eat a small amount of fruit, they prefer meat. These two creatures can't eat grass. Of course, there are exceptions to ants, such as termites. Termites eat wood, and the reason why termites can eat wood is that they have a parasite called flagellate in their bodies, which helps termites decompose wood and decompose wood into nutrients that termites can use. However, marching ants are not ants, they can eat fruit and meat, but they can't chew wood or eat grass. What Chen Mu wants now is the ability of buffaloes to eat grass. Buffaloes can eat grass, which is actually similar to termites. They have a special chamber in their bodies called the rumen, which is a microbial factory. There are 20 billion microorganisms living in every cubic centimeter. These microorganisms can break down the cellulose in the grass into starch and sugar, which are the nutrients that can sustain life. If the marching lion obtains the genes of the buffalo and obtains such a chamber, then the marching lion can also eat grass. Then the lion anteater it gives birth to can also eat grass, so that the food problem can be perfectly solved. Of course, things are not that simple. With the beginning of gluttony evolution, a new creature appeared in front of Chen Mu. This is a giant ant with a pair of horns on its head. After it appeared, it fell down. There was no sound. The first experiment failed. Chen Mu's mouth twitched. It seems that we have to take it slow again. It is obviously not that easy to acquire the ability of a buffalo to eat grass. But Chen Mu is not in a hurry. Although the number of lions is not far from extinction, the number of buffaloes is still not small. 5 are used for each experiment. At most, it can be used tens of thousands of times and tens of thousands of them can be killed. Chen Mu patiently conducted experiments again and again. Finally, after 2,000 times, Chen Mu got a new creature. From the appearance, this creature looks not much different from a lioness. The only difference is that there are a pair of buffalo horns on both sides of the head, and the tail has become a cow's tail. The one in front of him has the genes of the queen ant, and at the same time, it can eat grass and survive for 3 days without dying, and there is no abnormality in the body. After the experiment was successful, Chen Mu stood on the stone, wagging his tail leisurely, looking at the creature in front of him. Next, we can start to cultivate a new lion ant beast, or it should be said that it is a lion bull ant. Chen Mu was about to start the action, but suddenly, Chen Mu's shaking lion tail slowly stopped. He frowned. Last time, the marching lions were able to mate with male lions because they looked almost the same as female lions, but now. He looked at the creature with horns and tails in front of him. Chen Mu's eyebrows stretched slightly. Forget it, since letting it go won't work, then use force, that's it. He caught a male lion and then used some friendly communication. Hey, you mate with it. Chen Mu found a male lion and said. The male lion stared at Chen Mu, grinning at Chen Mu. Are you out of your mind? I'm the Lion King. Do you think I'll do whatever you want me to do? I'm very loyal, and that's a monster. Chen Mu raised his claws, used the biological armor ability, and swept it. A tree as thick as an adult's waist beside him broke with a sound. The male lion, who called himself the Lion King, said seriously, as a Lion King, I am very loyal to every lioness, even if they don't look so good. Chen Mu stared at the lion and was too lazy to say anything more. Under Chen Mu's gaze, the lion could only shed tears of humiliation and slowly walk towards the marching lion. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Chen Wunian. Chapter 119. After solving the mating problem, a few days passed. The belly of the marching lion began to grow. Just like the last time, the marching lioness could not move because her belly became too big. Chen Mu looked at the marching lion in front of him and muttered, Marching lion, this name seems to be changed. Let's call it Lion Bull Ant Queen. It's easier to call it this way. The thing born in the future will be called Lion Bull Ant. Perfect. Looking at its appearance, it is estimated that it can't move. In other words, I still have to feed it like before. Chen Mu left a clone, flapping its wings, to find food for it. Its stomach is not only the same as that of a cow, but it even combines the genes of lions and marching ants. Therefore, as long as it is food, it can eat meat, fruit, or grass. In this way, Chen Mu's search for food is much easier. Soon, the lion bull ant queen began to give birth. Eggs appeared one after another around. Then one after another giant ants with horns appeared. Looking at these giant ants with horns, Chen Mu was a little worried. With horns, these lion bull ants born from this lion bull ant queen should have cow genes. I wonder if they have genes for eating grass. After having these lion bull ants, Chen Mu asked the lion bull ant queen to give these lion bull ants in order to collect food. In this way, these lion bull ants will take the initiative to collect food for the lion bull ant queen. These foods include meat, fruit, and grass. Chen Mu noticed that these lion bull ants are also eating grass. Looking at these giant ants with horns eating grass, Chen Mu breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay. On this African grassland, the amount of grass is much greater than the number of animals. It's not like they will be eaten up, right? Obviously, Chen Mu underestimated the reproduction speed of the lion bull ant queen and the eating speed of these lion bull ants. As time went by, only 2 months passed. The number of lion bull ants began to grow wildly, from 1 to 100, from 100 to 10,000, and now there are more than 1 million lion bull ants. All the animals within a radius of 10,000 meters were eaten up, and then it was the grassland's turn. The grassland within a radius of 10,000 meters, not to mention the green grass, even the trees and tree roots were eaten up. Those lion bull ants now have to run farther away every day to find food. Chen Mu, who realized that something was wrong, chose to reset the number. Chen Mu flapped his wings and passed from the outermost edge. As long as the lion bull ants touched by Chen Mu turned into golden light and were swallowed by Chen Mu. Chen Mu has been using his control ability to control the lion bull ant queen to prevent these things from attacking him. Chen Mu asked the lion bull ant queen to give orders to these things, so that they could not attack Chen Mu even if they died. Of course, Chen Mu was not worried about them attacking him, and they could not hurt him. The reason he did this was just for the convenience of observation. During the process of Chen Mu's swallowing, there was no resistance. This surprised Chen Mu a little. If a lion sees its companions being attacked, it will react anyway, but these lion bull ants don't care at all, and don't even care about their own life or death. Chen Mu muttered, it seems that in terms of emotions, these things should have inherited more genes from ants. Insects have no emotions. They only have the nature engraved in their genes and some reflexive actions. They are pure survival machines. They don't have the emotions that humans think of. At the same time, a drone flew in the air. The camera it carried was facing Chen Mu. There were many tents set up on the distant grassland, and various equipment was placed around the tents. In one of the tents, there were also many equipment. There was a display screen among these equipment. The display screen showed Chen Mu, who was devouring the lion bull ants. There were 7 staff members in this tent. One of the men in a white coat was looking at the screen in front of him with a serious face. Next to the man was a woman wearing a vest and a hat. She looked at the screen and said, "Teacher, what is it doing?" The man pushed his glasses, then crossed his arms and said, "If I'm right, it should be doing an experiment." "Experiment?" The woman looked at the man. The man said, "Before, it used some power we don't understand to combine lions and ants to create a new creature that can reproduce infinitely. After a period of time, the new creature was swallowed up by it. Now it uses the genes of the new creature to combine with the genes of cows to create this thing. If I guess correctly, it should be creating new creatures. Now it is an experiment for it to create new creatures. At present, it seems that there are too many of these creatures, and it chooses to reduce the number of these creatures." The woman looked at the man and said, "Teacher, what do you think this thing is?" When the man heard it, he crossed his arms and said, "When we first discovered this creature, it was already conducting this experiment. It has a lion body and an eagle face, and it has a high IQ and can use powers we don't know. This kind of existence, as far as I know, has only appeared in one place." One place, the woman didn't understand. The man said, "Mythology, only in mythological records, there is such a thing." When the woman heard it, she said, "Teacher, you mean, it is a god?" She was surprised. "Teacher, didn't you tell me before that there is no god in this world?" The man said, "Indeed, I don't think there is a god in this world, but since I saw this creature with my own eyes, my belief has been shaken. If it is not a god, then the abilities it possesses cannot be explained. If this is a god, then we have been staring at it for such a long time, and it doesn't know. Isn't this god too weak?" A voice came. Hearing this voice, the man looked back and saw a man in military uniform walking in playfully. The man in the white coat said calmly, "Do you think it doesn't know?" The smile of the man in military uniform slowly disappeared, and he frowned, "Do you think it knows?" The man in the white coat said calmly, "Do you think God cares about the spying of a group of ants?" He retracted his gaze and looked at the screen in front of him. "I'm afraid it has known us for a long time, but it just doesn't bother to pay attention to us." The man in the white coat pushed his glasses, crossed his arms, and looked at Shenmue on the screen in front of him. He said calmly, "And I have warned you that it has wisdom? Its current experiments deliberately avoid the location of us humans, but it doesn't mean that it is afraid of humans. It just doesn't bother to cause trouble. If you covet the power of God and want to take action against God, then you will only face death." The man in military uniform frowned. On the other side, almost all of these lion bull ants were devoured by Shenmue. Shenmue left 6 worker ants and 2 soldier ants. Shenmue controlled the lion bull ant queen and gave the worker ants an order, "Lift me up, let's move to another place." 6 adult giant lion bull ants lifted the lion bull ant queen and carried her to a place with grassland. The lion bull ants, as soldier ants, followed beside them. Shenmue flew in the air and watched this scene. The lion bull ant queen stopped 10,000 meters away, laid eggs again, and started a new round of reproduction. The lion bull ants, as soldier ants, guarded beside them, and the lion bull ants, as worker ants, began to look for food nearby. After Shenmue looked at this scene, he flew into the air, and glanced at the drone not far away. "I don't know what these 2-legged apes want to do by staring at me for so long." Forget it, Shenmue was too lazy to pay attention to them. "As long as they don't provoke me, I'm too lazy to pay attention to them." Shenmue flapped his wings and returned to his original position, looking at the bare land in front of him. If this place is not taken care of properly, it is estimated that no grass will grow for a long time. It needs to be taken care of. Become a sea squirt larva and eat a brain first. Author, Shenmue Nian. Chapter 120. Shenmue flapped his wings and slowly landed on a big rock, looking at the land in front of him where even the grass roots had been eaten away. "Now we must not let these lion cow ants reproduce uncontrollably. It is best to control the number and devour the excess lion cow ants directly. Then let them move in an area and eat up the grass in an area. Change to another area, but even so, if the eaten area is not treated properly, the grass may not grow back in the future. If you want sustainable development, you must treat the land that has been eaten by lion ants. The best treatment is to water the land." Shenmue raised his head and looked at the clear sky. Africa is different from the seasons in common sense. They do not have 4 seasons, only dry seasons and rainy seasons. The dry season in Africa is from April to October every year, and the rainy season is from October to April next year. Shenmue often encountered rainy days before, but recently it has not rained for more than a month. It should be the dry season now. It's almost impossible to ask God to water the land during the dry season. Forget it, then I will replace God and water this land. Shenmue flapped his wings, flying into the sky. He turned around and transformed into a giant albatross. He flapped his wings and flew towards the sea. At the same time, inside the tent, the man in the white coat saw Shenmue, who had turned into an albatross through the screen. His eyebrows furrowed. The eyes of the woman next to her were shining. Not only can it change the genes of other creatures, it can also change its own shape. This is simply a miracle. As expected, this creature cannot be judged by common sense. Just like what you said, teacher, that's the same thing, it could really be God. As she said that, she looked at the man in the white coat, but she was a little confused. Teacher, what's wrong? The teacher thought it was a god, and that God would turn into other creatures. Isn't this within the scope of understanding? At the same time, this also proves that the teacher's guess is correct, but why is the teacher frowning? This made her a little confused. The man in the white coat said, if it had maintained the appearance of a god, those soldiers might not dare to take action because of fear, but now it has turned into an albatross. To those soldiers, it is just a big bird. Those guys, I guess I can't bear it anymore. When the woman heard this, she said, why are they so stupid? Teacher, you have told them that the creature is not an ordinary creature, it may be a god in mythology. But they know that it may offend a god. But is it too stupid to still want to attack God? The man in the white coat crossed his hands on his chest. Do you know the value of this creature in front of you? The woman was stunned and shook her head. The man in the white coat said, not everyone believes that it is a god in mythology. If we can capture it alive and use it for research to find out its magical powers, if there are any results, it will be equivalent to gaining great power. The research of these magical powers alone can bring huge wealth. The group behind us will not allow the military to give up this easy wealth just because the other party is a god. The man in the white coat said lightly, of course, in addition to wealth, being able to capture it alive is also equivalent to get powerful. But the woman said, that is God. If they offend God, God's anger will bring them death. The man in the white coat said calmly, I said, not everyone thinks it is a god, they just regard it as a mind to be developed. The woman was speechless and didn't know what to say. The man in the white coat looked away and looked at the screen. Shenmue on the screen has flown out of the range that the drone can detect. At the same time, just as the man in the white coat expected, groups of soldiers in uniform were already in action. The man in military uniform who had been in contact with the man in the white coat drove forward in an off-road vehicle with a large group of troops. Sir, are we going to where those big ants are? Sitting next to the man in military uniform was a female soldier. The man in military uniform said calmly, I don't want to be torn to pieces by those big ants. Let's go to a place where those big ants won't go back. I guess that guy will come back there soon. The female soldier heard this. Sir, are you talking about the wasteland that has been eaten by giant ants? Yes, the man in military uniform said calmly, although I don't know why that guy paid attention to that wasteland, but based on its previous habits, since it paid attention, it will definitely go back. He will turn into a so-called god. If we do it, it will probably be very troublesome, but if he turns into a big bird, then our tranquilizer gun will definitely be useful. Tell those people to increase the amount of anesthesia. When the time comes, we will arrange for the snipers to hide. When it comes back, we will give it an anesthetic that will take effect immediately. Even if it is a god, I will take it back, the man in military uniform said calmly. As he spoke, the corners of his mouth raised. Yes, the female soldier responded. At the same time, Shenmue flew for half a day. Finally arrived at his destination. Sea. Africa is almost surrounded by the sea. If you want to water, sea water is naturally the easiest source of water. Shenmue plunged into the sea, and in the blink of an eye, his body transformed into a giant blue whale with a length of 35 meters. Shenmue, who turned into a blue whale, opened his mouth, and countless seawater poured directly into his mouth. An adult blue whale can swallow 80 densities of seawater at a time. Shenmue's body is much larger than an adult blue whale, and he can swallow 100 densities of seawater at a time. Shenmue has an idea. He wants to use the body of a blue whale to transport seawater. But to do this, he has to do an experiment. He used his huge mouth to hold 100 densities of seawater. Shenmue used his transformation ability to turn himself into an albatross. After turning into an albatross, he rushed out of the sea and went straight into the sky. After flying into the air, his body turned into a giant blue whale. The blue whale opened its mouth. The seawater stored in its mouth gushed out of its mouth like a waterfall, fell on the sea surface, and created thousands of huge waves. The body of the blue whale turned into an albatross again in the air. He flapped his wings and flew up, looking at the sea surface below that was rolling due to the impact of the seawater falling from the sky. The experiment was successful. When the seawater contained in the body of a blue whale uses its transformation ability to transform into another creature and then transform back, the seawater is still there. It is estimated that the transformation ability treats the seawater as part of the blue whale's body. Okay. In this way, the seawater can be preserved through the body of the blue whale, and then transformed into a bird to transport the seawater back for watering. Wait a minute, suddenly, Chen Mu had an idea. In this case, why don't I just combine the genes of the bird and the blue whale to make a flying blue whale?